Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to the Fantasy Gaming League 2019. We are back with another year of fantasy gaming, and for those who aren't familiar with the format, the aim of the game is for the participants to create a roster of 10 games that score well with reviewers in 2019. We take the aggregated review score from OpenCritic, and that is the game score. The participant who ends the year with the highest score overall takes home the championship. We have two competitions again this year. Firstly, we have our individual championship, which is contested with last year's losing captain Adcock, Tom Adkins, not Adcock, Biff, Chappers, Logan and Sir Dave. But the main event is for the team championship. So we have two captains who will need to create a 10-game roster using 4 of their own picks and 6 games selected by team members that they choose. Each of the team members will provide two available games. There are no duplicates on each roster, so each game will need to be unique. The captains should have no idea what each team member has on their roster just yet, so it's not only a judgment on the video game industry, but also the people within Dimp Digital. This year we have expanded the transfer system. There will be now 3 transfer windows lasting 1 calendar month. The first will be in March, the second will be in June, and the third will be in September. This allows participants to transfer out unreleased games for a 5-point cost. Okay, let's meet our 2 captains for this year. Firstly, this year's challenger. He's the 2017 MVP and the current reigning Fantasy Gaming League individual champion. It's Piper. How you doing?
Woof, woof. I'm in the room. I'm here. I've made it. It's taken 2 years, but I've made it.
You have made it. Are you surprised that you was the 2017 MVP? If something wasn't really called out at the time.
No, like that, you know, and I've got some beef here with Hall, to be honest, around this. I was listening to the previous podcast around the 2018 championship, and I got so much crap, and I fucking won. I was like, right, I'm going to hear all the nice stuff about me, you know, how well he's done and stuff like that. He's like, no, he cheated his way there. He picked all that, and I was like, for fuck's sake, you know, the year I come of age, I get shot down. So I'm here. I'm looking forward to prove a point. Technically, over the last 2 years, the top scoring Dimp player for 2 years combined. So, you know, you should watch out. You know, I'm here. I've got tactics, unlike the others.
He's got tactics, that's for sure. His opponent, as you may well have heard, he is the reigning, defending, undisputed, 2-time winning captain of the Fantasy Gaming League. It's Hall. How you doing?
Yeah, all good. Ready for the three-peat.
Going for hat-trick.
Couldn't be more of a cert, really. Just as long as my moron teammates don't let me down, be fine.
That's always the cost to Jack is the other people usually. But we have had upsets in the quiz. Adkins was going for his hat-trick and got scuppered by Adcock, so there's complacency setting in for the dominant players. But you've actually, Hall, you've never gone out of your way you've gone out of your way to never pick Paper. Every time you're captain, he's never been in your team. Is that you just basically saying, as a captain, he's going to offer no threat either?
I've got no concerns at all. Because he doesn't know games and he doesn't know people. So,
whoa! Last 2 years, I said combined the best scoring player out of everyone in Dimp.
Last year was a joke. Everyone did so shit.
The year before came second only to Apps because they had Mario Odyssey. You know, no one gave me kudos there. So you know, consistently tactics, mate. You know, you got to think out the box.
Yeah, I mean, but then you've got to deal with the rest of the morons.
Yeah, well,
welcome to the big leagues, mate. That's all I'm going to
say. He's counted you out before it's almost begun here. Does that motivate you more to try and knock him off top spot so you can rule the roost?
Oh, I'd fucking love it. I fucking hate him.
Kevin Keegan style.
I would love it if we beat them.
Oh, I'd love it if we beat them.
Okay, well let's get on with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip a coin, and Paper, you're going to call whether it's heads or tails. The winner of this coin toss will decide whether they want to have the first game pick, i.e. choose the number one game for 2019, or the first team member pick. Obviously, if you choose the game pick, you can't choose the first team member, so you have to that's the trade-off you have to consider. We are using a 5p piece, Paper.
Oh, tiny.
I didn't want to get a quid out in case it rolled under the table, so I thought 5p.
As we say, you can leave a 5p there, but a pound
Absolutely, yeah. It's low stakes of a 5p. You might want to know that because some people say that depending on how the coin's pressed, it is actually more likely to fall on heads or tails. So if you do your research, you might want to get a bit of a statistical advantage. But do you want to go for heads or tails to kick off this particular 2019 Fantasy Gaming League?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. Again, apologies if I drop this and it clatters everywhere. Oh, God, that was high. It is tails. First blood to paper. Now, you've got a decision to make here. Do you go for the first game pick to secure that and knowing that's in your roster, or would you like to choose the first person who's going to help fill up your team?
I would like to choose team member.
So you're going to get the first team member pick, okay? Which means, Hall, you're going to get a shot at the first game. I'm pretty sure most of the time, Hall, you've always gone for the first game because, like you said, you haven't got to rely on morons then.
Yeah. It's been a real mixed bag because the thing is, well, I'm not going to give James any ideas. So, yeah.
Oh, Christ. You see, he's scared already. I thought it was easy. It feels that easy. He'd be walking over me. It's backing off already. Poor.
Scared him off. Right, so we'll go to you then, Hall. What is going to be your first game for the 2019 draft?
I'm going to go for a game that I subbed out of the 2018 draft, Anthem.
Anthem. Trusting good old Mass Effect creators. Forgotten their fucking names. EA publishing it. BioWare, sorry.
Yeah.
What's the thoughts behind that one? They're saying it could be the next Destiny.
I liked the look of it in 2018, as I said. It got knocked back. It's a definite release. It's coming out next month. Nice to get one on the board. And, yeah, I think it looks fucking awesome. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, not a bad strategy, just making sure you get a game that's out in sort of Q1 or half one, then you haven't got to worry about it leaving you stranded later on down the line.
Yeah.
Paper, that gives you an opportunity now to give your pick. This to be your number one pick for your captain picks.
So I'm quite happy who went for Anthem because that sat 14 on my list.
Cool,
so
mind games.
I'm going to go for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Jesus. Trusting old Square Eye to deliver with Kingdom Hearts 3. a lot of hype. Again, like Halls, it's out early in the year. I think that's 25th of January time. So, thinking behind that, if you just had a look at the previous iterations and seen that they've been scoring well.
1 and 2 got released last year, I think it was, as a remaster, and that scored high 80s, I think. So, so I think 3, as long as they keep along the same lengths and improve, they'll do all right. There's a lot. It's one of those nostalgia ones that, if done reasonably well, people are lap it up, like Mario fans and stuff like that. Nintendo fans
following Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a solid pick because it's out early. And we'll see how that pans out. So, Paper, you actually get the next pick, and that'll be for the first team member. Now, the key here also to remember, guys, is that the individual championships is separate to the team championships, but the order in which you guys pick the team members defines their drafting position for that. So, for example, if you were to pick Adkins last, he would be 6th on the rankings to get his games in, which puts him at a significant disadvantage. So, is there going to be any tactics, Paper, to try and help people along that you're fond of, or is it just going to be best for the team, others are thrown in the bins?
So there is tactics behind this, but it's not about the best scoring player in the individual leagues, because it's really only about the top 2 picks.
Yeah.
And there's been people that have done a lot better at top 2 picks. Like, for example, I won last year in individual, but my top 2 picks probably were poor in comparison. So, so there is, and actually looking at Hall's roster he's had the same roster the last 2 years. And so I want to change that. And therefore my first pick is going to be Adkins.
He's stolen Adkins. Now, Adkins himself has only ever been on the winning team in the Fantasy Gaming League, so he's not won the individual title before.
That's always been for fucking Team Hall, hasn't he?
He's always been for Team Hall, which means he is unbeaten, and generally he's been scoring well. I remember last year, I think he got you Spider-Man and God of War Hall, which just was unnecessarily good 2 picks to get. Considering Spider-Man was sort of the 7th game down the roster, so I don't know how he pulled that off. But you've chosen Adkins, so he will not be with Hall for the first time in his career. Will that rumble him? His first game...
Real bother for Adkins, that is.
It's probably not where he wants to be, but, the comedy brothers, they constantly feud, and now they've got to work together to try and take down Evil Hall. But he has given you It's a bit of a shot in the dark, but it's The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
So,
that is garbage from our.
that's not even on my list this year. And
I mean,
You had it last year.
you did have it last year, that's correct. This year you didn't fancy it, no?
I just didn't think it would come out this year. But equally,
Thought it come out last year, but didn't think about it coming out this year.
if it comes out, it'd be announced at E3, I think. So it's one of those ones that, I'm happy to take the shot in the dark, because if it comes out, it will score really well. Sort of same tactics I played last year. If it doesn't come out, it'll sub that out at E3, and it'll get a decent scoring game. If we look at E3 this year, only out of the top 10 games, I think we as a team only picked 3 of them, and 2 of them came from me at E3. So, it shows that actually E3, taking that tactic of changing E3 does pay off.
Well, you ended up with Fallout 76 after E3 as well, so that was an all-time disappointment. Well, your roster now sits with Kingdom Hearts 3 and The Last of Us 2. Hall, I'm guessing that throws a little bit of a spanner potentially in your works, because Adkins has been your go-to man for the last few years or so. Who's going to be Hall's number 1 pick this time then?
Well, I feel like a large proportion of this is based around who can be bothered and who can't. And despite him being the losing captain for last year, I'm going to go with Adcock.
A shot at redemption after slumping to defeat against yourself last year. Just for reference, his first pick was The Last of Us Part 2. So similar minds going for that one there. But so we moved to Adkins' second pick, which I think is a personal good one. He's gone for Resident Evil 2.
Yes!
Remake, due out later on this year.
Well done, Adcock!
And getting a lot of good praise from the previews and whatnot that came from E3, and looks good. I'm hopefully going to be playing that at some point. But pleased with that.
That will be a 90-plus game.
Right. There's the confidence. That leaves you with Anthem, Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts and The Last of Us 2 for paper. Paper, how are you feeling about that? Is that a bit of a body blow, considering you might have to sub out The Last of Us 2?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what... it's interesting, because I think Hall would have gone for Adkins as his first pick if he'd got that. So he would have got Last of Us 2. And then he would have gone up for Adcock. So because I picked first, I've got Last of Us 2. Though I'm happy with that, because I think we can play tactics later on. But yeah, I think Resident Evil 2 is a good game, and I had that quite high on my list. It's a good, solid game.
Excellent. Well, we're looking for your second team member to join in. 4 left. You've got Biff, Sir Dave, Chappers and Logan. Both the Adkins and Adcock brothers are gone. They're not brothers, by the way. But who's going to be number 2?
Once again, had a stinker on the individuals last year, but generally has a decent mind, and actually on the team game...
Generally has a decent mind.
Yeah.
They'll be thrilled with whoever this is.
And throw that at him. But on the team game, top 2 had good picks. Had an amazing pick, and therefore I'm going to go for Sir Dave.
Sir Dave, very reluctant to take a plunge. He had to be sort of kind of talked into it. So obviously I can't reveal that before the draft takes place, but it was hard work getting Sir Dave to commit. So you were saying he's got a decent brain. Does that concern you slightly that perhaps he's given up the ghost a little bit? Because in the individual side, he did take a bit of a hammering last year.
He did, but he also picked Monster Hunter. So, you got to look at that. And I only need him to think well on his top 2 games. The rest of it, you can go tits up for all I care. But, if his top 2 games, if he does well, then and I feel like a little bit of prodding, as the year goes through, it'll be all right.
That's certainly a valid consideration there. So Dave has managed to secure you From Software's next game, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Fuck.
Oh yes, I had that. I was right. That's my next choice personally. So that is fantastic news for me. That's going to be a really good game.
You didn't seem happy with that, Hall, losing that one.
Yeah, that was my number 2 pick.
Yeah, it's. They are a proven commodity, the From Software boys. The only thing that might upset the apple cart of this one is that it's now being published by Activision.
Yeah.
Who I would be surprised if From Software did anything to kind of damage the game in terms of like loot boxes or things like that, or had any design decisions over it. But they've never gone with a publisher like this before, so it'd be interesting to see if there are any compromises that Activision want.
It's not the same style of game as the other ones either. It's
No,
it's like an open world, more
it's like
Zelda
Tenchu almost.
Yeah,
Reminds me of old school Tenchu. But they do have a lot of fans, or they don't have a lot of fans compared to some franchises, but
it's one of those as well that not everyone will review it, and therefore you'll get the people that want to play it review it more. And we've noticed that like the big games get 60 plus reviews. The smaller games that have a smaller niche market might only get 20 reviews, and therefore that keeps them higher.
Well, if it's good, it keeps it high. If it's average or shit, it keeps them double shit, doesn't it?
That is true.
You got to consider that. So that's it. So Dave comes in with Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Hall, who's going to be your second pick?
I'm again going down the effort put in, sort of game plan. So I'm going to go for Chappers.
Chappers. He's also been a staple of your team since the beginning. You've always been able to rely on Chappers to produce you with your two games.
Solid ones. Yeah, we've normally got pretty similar minds, and he's pretty good about keeping on top of it if his games aren't going to come out. So
right, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where he's won every year of you. It's a go-to guy, and doesn't always fare well in the individual, but team-wise, is normally coming up with some decent pick. Chappers has got a Sony exclusive, which if it was last year, you'd have been happy with because they all scored fantastically. But something that's been a little bit, I think personally, wiry, is Days Gone.
Okay.
So it's coming out. You don't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Any concerns though that might not be the required standard?
I think it's going to be tough for it purely because there was a lot of hype, and then the hype died off, and then it came back. I mean, that's been floating around. I think it was 2016 E3 that was first shown off. So yeah, I was a little bit concerned on it, but I have it on my list. I'm definitely not disappointed with it. So yeah, fine with that.
Another one checked off. Piper, you've got the final team member pick. Well, not the final one, but you're essentially picking for two people here because whatever you leave, Hall will have to pick up. It's either Biff or Logan. Which one is it going to be?
So I'm going to go. So I feel like one would risk it. One's a safe bet, and one obviously came second last year with his safe bets, and therefore I'm going to go for Krog.
So Biff once again picked last. Biff once again picked last. That is going to infuriate him.
Well,
he will not be happy with that. I can tell you that there were comments going in whether perhaps he should just start sabotaging teams because people don't seem to respect him. But I don't think there's any danger of that happening this particular time. But you've got Logan. So Logan's obviously came second in the individual rankings. Like you said, does play things perhaps a little bit safe, but generally has done okay in the team space. Logan has secured you a game that actually come up in our Big Fat Gaming Quiz of the Year paper.
I'm hoping it is what I think it is.
Well, do you want to say it or do you want to not?
No, you say it because obviously I'll give it away.
It was a game that had been finished well ahead of schedule and went gold earlier and is now releasing earlier than anticipated. It's Metro Exodus.
Cracking shout.
Yeah.
It's going to score. It's going to score well. It could be one of those games that could end up in the high 80s, maybe low 90s if it does really well. But equally, I think that's an 80 scoring game just out of the hat.
Hall, any comment on Metro Exodus coming off the plate?
I had it. I'm not super disappointed.
No.
But it's a solid pick. I think it's an alright pick, but yeah, it's fair. I'm not overly disappointed to have lost it. I'm surprised it's as high up as it is.
Right. Yeah. That was his number one pick. So there was nothing else, and he's got it for you. So Interesting. That leaves you in a bit of a precarious position, Paul, because you're now left with Biff, who is one of the people you said you'd always want to avoid.
Yeah, let's be honest. No one wants that in their life, do they? So.
No, and he'll once again be at the back of the grid for the the rankings, which will damage his chances of ever getting out of this hole. But he's, he could be stuck there for a while. Confidence levels in Biff producing something good here.
Do you know what? First game, you can normally trust him. He's normally not a total retard. He just makes so you got to bank on him to at least get the first one right. Hopefully,
yeah.
I'm gonna guess though that Biff probably had the Resident Evil 2 remake on his list and Metro Exodus on his list.
Biff did not have either.
Super. Well done, Smithy. Right, come on.
They were not on there. However, I think you're going to be very pleased with this shrewd pick. It's something that people have used in the past to secure good games and to secure a decent score, looking at re-releases and whatnot. But you've managed to land yourself new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, which is a 2D Mario game and a re-release and remaster of the Wii U title. Usually score pretty well, but there's a silence there which is concerning.
They do score okay, It was on my list. I'm not saying much. It was number 16 on my list, but
Paul, any comment?
From what I remember, I don't know, so I can't go in on beer. But from what I remember, Super Mario Brothers. Well, the Wii U game was shit. It was fucking trash.
It is the Wii U game, so you're right there.
Exactly. So maybe it'll be better coming out on Switch.
It said it's 2 games in one, though. I had a quick look at it today. I don't know what the other one would be.
It's just new, Super Luigi Brothers, same as it was in the last one.
Okay.
Mario Brothers and Super Luigi Brothers, I think. But anyway,
yeah, that rings a bell.
It's not bad. It could be worse. Yeah, I did have it, but I crossed it off.
Oh. So it wasn't even going to make the final bits and pieces. Interesting. Well, that's there. That's Biff's number 1 pick.
Was that his first?
He's number 1.
Sorry. Excuse me. That was his second pick.
Jeez.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was his first pick,
right.
which was stolen.
I didn't give him credit to pick Kingdom Hearts, so...
No, I wouldn't have blamed that.
He's going to be thrilled when he listens to this. No credit being given.
Not even
no comments saying... No comments saying he's even got a decent brain. Like, that's completely out the window.
He ain't got a brain, mate.
Oh dear. Well, that leaves the first kind of round, I guess, of picks with Paper, with Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last of Us Part 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and Metro Exodus. Paul, you've got yourself Anthem, Resident Evil 2, Days Gone, and new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe U, or whatever it is. I can't remember the full title, but that's what you've ended up with. I'll come to you first, Paper. As the first round goes in, pleased with those 4 games? Obviously, one of them was yours, so you're always going to be happy with what that was.
Yeah, I've done really well. I've stolen 2 of Hall's players from last year, which is a good tactic in itself. So he's now worried that he's having to deal with people that were on losing teams for the last 2 years. And
just if that I'm worried about.
and I've got, at the moment, out of my top 4 games, I've got 3 of them in my pick. So I'm quite happy.
Hall, same question to you. Good, bad, or indifferent?
Again, 2 out of my top few games are on my list in Anthem and Res 2. Days Gone I had further down, and like I say, I crossed out Super Mario Bros. U. But I mean, I got stuck with Biff. So what do you expect?
I think it scored okay when I had a look at it on the Wii. I think it got like 75 or something.
Right, that ain't good enough then, is it? That ain't good enough, mate. Not all of us want to fucking enter your Shim Sham trophy where you win with fucking 70 average or whatever it was that you fucking scraped through a victory with.
A win's a win. Just tell that to Leicester fans.
I told you, mate, you're in the fucking big boy leagues now, 90 minimum.
90 minimum is what is required at this level. I mean, it's tough to get...
Ridiculous.
There's always a few that go in as first games, and you think, I mean, Biff is...
When does that come out? I think that comes out in February, so he's not got a chance to transfer it out. So I think you got that.
Yeah.
I stuck with that one. That is not a transferable one out, unfortunately. But I've got a feeling it might do all right. I don't think it's the most. It's obviously not a high flying game, but I think it will score 80s. That's my prediction for it.
I can't even remember what the old one was fucking called.
No, I can't either, to be honest.
I've got it here. I'll have a look. Hang on. I'm at my shelf.
Yeah, grab that off his shelf.
New Super Mario Brothers U and New Super Luigi U.
Yeah, so this is called New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
Oh, brilliant. That's just the same thing, but deluxe.
It's a fucking diabolical name, isn't it? But
it really
is. Well, let's move into the sort of second phase of the pick. So we revert back to Paper's team and Adkins. So Big Daddy Adkins had to go a little way down his list to get the next game out. This is actually his 8th pick. So a lot of the games he had chosen in his list had been snatched off him by other members. And the one that pops out and that you're going to end up with, Paper, is the Division 2.
So, yeah, I've got that on my list quite far down because I don't know how well it will be received. It's one of those sort of ones we don't really know, I feel at the moment. I feel like it could either, score well or people could just shit on it at the moment. It's sort of undecided. It's not really been put out there that much yet. So I'm relatively happy at the moment because we'll probably find I think it's towards the end of the year release of September time. So we got time to if it starts getting shit at E3, we can transfer it out. So I'm quite happy with that.
The OG Division got itself a score of 80.
Exactly.
So would that be acceptable?
That is a top. Adkins has done you proud there. Oh wait, he picked The Last of Us 2. No, the Division 2 will be all right. That will do better than Division 1. Division 1 released with loads of problems and it hurt it early doors. Division will be a strong 80 game.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a terrible pick. So, Hall, you've got Adcock, who's your talisman. He's taken a little bit of a gamble, but should this game arrive, I think it's in good hands. He's gone for Bayonetta 3, Nintendo Switch, which has been a bit absent in the last probably 12 months at least, but probably about time it gets shown and brought out this year. No?
Not blown away by that, if I'm honest.
More because you don't think it will come out, or you're just not convinced?
If it comes out, it'll be great. If it comes out, it'll smash it. Yeah. But I'm not 100% on whether that will be released or not.
Not sold on that one. Fair enough.
But do you know what? With the transfer windows changing slightly, and Adcock's pretty hot on transferring stuff if he needs to, I got time for it.
Yeah, there's time to see what occurs. And Nintendo are famous for just sort of doing a direct, announcing a release date, and it's in 2-3 months. So they could just
a short term.
Smash Bros. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It could be something along those lines. And looking forward, I can't think of what kind of big hitters they've got next year. Obviously, we had Smash Brothers this year, perhaps a new Pokemon game, but that's all unannounced stuff, so we'll see. So that's
and like Bayonetta 1 and 2 have smashed it.
Yeah.
So if it does come, it'll be a monster.
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with that. We go back to Paper's team, and I'm just having a look at what Sir Dave's put in this. No, it's all good. So Sir Dave's... Well, it's just that he's gone down the route of putting a game in that's due to get a remaster, and I was just checking whether that was still the case, and there was 2 conflicting articles, but you've got it in your team anyway, so you've got yourself Yakuza 4, which will either be Yakuza 4 remastered or probably Yakuza 4 Kiwami if they're following the same trend of what they did before. So that is Yakuza 4 remaster, whatever that ends up manifesting into. Paper concerns?
If it comes out, it score well. I think the question is if it comes out. Has it got a release date yet? I don't know.
Nah.
It's not on any of my lists, so
No.
It's one of those ones. Comes out, it'll do well for itself. Doesn't come out, you know what? We'll ship it at E3 or something like that and bring something else in. I'm not too worried about people taking gambles. Gambles generally pay off. If they don't come out, you're only going to lose 5 points, and you're going to potentially get something that scores quite high. So I'm okay with that one.
Fair enough. Hall, you're perhaps your lieutenant almost in Chappers now. He's the last one left from your original team. He's gifted you a game that went missing last year, but he's stuck with it. It's Skull and Bones.
Okay.
Unknown quantity, I'd say, because Ubisoft generally do okay, but pirate game, not seen much of it. Don't know.
Yeah, that's a real coin toss, isn't it? Should be good. I think it looks all right from what we've seen of it. I think it looks okay, but you're kind of venturing into relative unknown territory, really, in terms of like pirate games. We've had Assassin's Creed, which did really well because it was a good game, and we've had Sea of Thieves, which didn't do so well. So, and really, those two have kind of been it. In terms
Atlas
of
has just come out as well, which has not done so well.
So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's we'll see more about that and see if that manifests into something good. Lost Hall. He's left the call.
He was that disappointed with Skull and Bones. He's like, get me out of here.
He's that disgusted by his trusted Lieutenant Chappers that he's left the call and returned. He's now on video. He's gone. He's disappeared again. All sorts of chaos going on in the technical department here.
You
there, Hall?
I'm back.
We thought you'd so disgusted at Skull and Bones actually just logged off and thrown in the towel.
It turns out if you push the old lock screen button on the iPhone, it just hangs up the call.
That's helpful, then. That's very helpful, isn't it, for people on calls? Well done.
Not ideal. Anyway, continue.
So Logan will make up the last sort of team picks for you paper. You said he normally goes for safe games. He's already given you Metro Exodus. He's pushed the boat out a little bit here because the game doesn't exist yet. It's at this stage, it's a bit of a fantasy and hearsay. But you've got yourself, if it comes out this year, the new Pokemon game.
And you know what? That's the one that's at the top of my list. It's got like it's like at 0, and I've got Pokemon Untitled, and I put the word Risk next to it. And I was going to pick it as my very last game if no one had picked it. So I'm quite happy with that. Once again, Nintendo give short release dates. They haven't got anything big coming out so far in 2019. A Pokemon game would absolutely smash the market in 2019. A proper and they said the next one's going to be a bit like Sun and Moon and Yellow and all that lot. So it comes out. It'll be fantastic, and we'll know by E3 if it's going to come out. If it doesn't, then once again it's a sub, but it's it's one of those ones. If it comes out, that's potentially the Red Dead Redemption of this year.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably, if it comes out, it will score well, no doubt. No doubt about that whatsoever. Hall, would that be one you'd have taken a risk on had it been later on in the draft, or we're not interested in that sort of?
Nope.
No,
I wouldn't have touched it, mate.
Don't trust Nintendo anymore.
Too many that they've got scheduled in for 2019. We keep saying they haven't got many big games. I'm quite the opposite. I think they've got a lot of big games, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to deliver them all. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. It'll all pan out as the year trundles on. Hall, we're now on to your last team member pick. It is Biff. He wasn't fond of his first pick, which was number 2 on his list. You'll be pleased to know you've got number 3 on his list. So, yeah, we haven't had to go digging out to the doldrums down the bottom of his list. Although, personally, look at some of the stuff he's got there. There's better stuff there again that for some reason he's ordered backwards, but that's the way his brain works. He has secured you the forever delayed, but now, I think it has got a release date early this year, Ace Combat 7.
That looks so shit.
18th of January. No chance that's getting a delay.
That game looks fucking toilet. What is that moron doing? Seriously, if you look at it.
Yeah, it does look dreadful.
It looks absolutely fucking tragic.
He's going to get you points on the table quick. He's going to get you points on the table quick.
Motion sickness in a game.
Could it be another agony? Could have scored an all-time low, I think 39 points or something ridiculous. Could it be that ballpark again, Hall?
That is so shit. Although that said, hang on, I'm going to do a quick Google.
Ace Combat 6.
Yeah.
It probably didn't come out. The frustrating thing is, once it's all said and done, I'll give you a list of the games that you could have had, because he's got so much, I think, much more polished and better stuff there. But for some reason...
Yeah, this is why he's always bottom. He's a fucking moron. Ace Combat 6 actually got 80% on Metacritic. 8.4 on IGN. But I don't care. I think this is going to be garbage.
So you're not pleased with Biff's two picks?
Came out 12 years ago, the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
Those
games don't age well, yeah.
No, this is it. 12 years ago, you literally released basically Pong remastered. It's fucking 80%. The bar has been raised.
All right, so the teams as they stand paper, you've got Adkins, Sir Dave, Logan, and your team currently stands with Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last of Us Part 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Metro Exodus, The Division 2, Yakuza 4, and then the new Pokemon game on Switch, whatever that manifests itself to be. Many of those games scrubbed off your list, stuff on there that you didn't have, or stuff that you've heard of and were thinking, yeah, that's probably something I would have picked if it weren't there.
So the only two from my team that weren't on my list was The Last of Us Part 2 and Yakuza Remaster. The Division 2, once again, is going to be a high-scoring game. Wasn't high on my list. However, Pokemon, Kingdom Hearts, Sekiro, and Metro Exodus in the top 5 of mine. So I've pretty much getting the picks I wanted, and the team is sort of it feels a bit like how I sort of took it last year. There's a couple of games in there where people are risking it for a biscuit, and it didn't pay off for me last year because I had to sub them all out. However, I ended up getting 2 absolute crackers, 1 stinker in, but 2 absolute crackers in. So we'll take some of those crackers if we need to swap them out.
Yeah. Hall, your team of Adcock, Chappers and Biff has got yourself Anthem, Resident Evil 2, Days Gone, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Bayonetta 3, Skull and Bones, and the forever anticipated Ace Combat 7. How's that sound? Winning team there?
As much as it pains me to admit it, I feel like I've come off worse out of that.
Is that the first time you felt like that?
Yeah, it's the first time ever. And thankfully, I know paper's poor, so I've got my own picks to fall back on.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to be shocked.
Well, let's get on with it. Let's see how shocked we really are. Hall, you retain your first pick for the game, so that continues here. What's going to be number 8 on your list?
Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the Game Awards. Safe bet, I think. They're not going to box that up, are they?
Mortal Kombat 10 got like 89, I think, or something like that, or maybe 91. I can't remember. Smashed it. This one looks just as good. I think it'll drill it into a high 80, maybe low 90.
Yeah, I mean, NetherRealm Studios are developers, and they've also developed the Injustice series, which has scored very well as well. So their sort of niche or their specialty in fighting games have been, they're probably the best in the biz at the moment. So definitely a good pick there. Paper, you don't get Mortal Kombat 11. Is that a bit of a sick note?
Yeah, that was my next. Well, wasn't my next pick, but the one after. So it was definitely going to be in my team if Hall hadn't have picked it. So I was quite surprised actually that didn't come up on someone like Adkins' list.
As am I.
I would assume that would have been. He's literally number 1 choice for Adkins. So to me, that was a bit of a surprise. Like over The Last of Us 2, I would have definitely thought he'd have picked Mortal Kombat. I would have put money on it, but Hall's got that one. It's a good one.
Yeah, just for reference, Biff had Mortal Kombat 11 14th on his list. So there's 13 other games above that. Adkins had it at 11.
Fucking hell, Adkins.
Down, but yeah, not really taken up. I'm just scanning now to see if it's in the top 3 of any. No one in the top sort of 3 or 5. So
that's my top 5.
Yeah, my top 5 as well.
I think people have forgotten about that. I think they've forgotten that was announced at the Game Awards and haven't been doing their due diligence, because that's got to be on the list somewhere. So that's a really good pick to get at 8, really. It's a strong one. Paper, what are you going to do to counter that? You said you've got some surprises up your sleeve. Let's hear it.
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Cool. Gone down that Nintendo route again. What's made you go for that particular game? Because it is on one list. It was on a Sir Dave list. So what's giving you the right to think Fire Emblem is going to be good in the form of Three Houses?
Just looking back at previous scores that Fire Emblem games have had, they've always been, I think, bar one game in the 80s. So for me, it was a relatively sort of safe bet that it would score okay. And it's one of those ones again that you're not going to get everyone review. So you're going to get the people that like these sort of Japanese style games play it, and then your sort of big Joes just sort of not really giving it a go. So I think it's going to score relatively well. I think it's a safe bet.
Paul, was that anywhere on your list, lurking, or not interested?
Not interested, mate.
So that's a free one for you. Then you're happy. You've not lost anything from that exchange.
Yeah, pretty pleased with that.
What's going to be your 9th pick then, Hall?
I'm going to go for Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yes. I'm surprised this wasn't lurking on other lists.
Yeah, these are literally my top 5s that just haven't come out.
That's exactly what happens sometimes, though. People have got a different idea. What was the first one called? Or in the Blind Forest, wasn't it?
Blind Forest.
Yeah, that scored very well. I think Will of the Wisps is due out early-ish, so...
Yeah, or in the Blind Forest, I think, was another 91 or 92. Yeah. And this one looks... It's got everything the previous one had. Again, I think it'll be a high 80, low 90.
Yeah. Solid pick there. Paper, was that anywhere on your list?
No, it wasn't there at all.
Oh, not interested in Ori and the Will of the
Mainly
Wisps.
because I didn't really know about it. I think it probably sounds like quite a good game. He's done his due diligence there.
What's going to be your 9th pick then, Paper? You've had one surprise. I must admit Fire Emblem was a surprise. Are you going to treat us to 2 more?
I am going to take my risky pick and bring the one in that I had in last year, and that's Shamu 3. We're risking for a biscuit.
This year it might actually come out, but I still maintain what I said last year. It'll be diabolical. I just can't. Paper, I can't support that pick. I don't know why.
When it scores well.
If it does, I'll be the first to be playing it, because it's the sort of game I would play, but crowdfunded. When was the last one released? 12, 15 years ago?
Dreamcast.
For Dreamcast.
Talk about having a niche market.
I mean, come on. What are we playing at here?
No, risking it. That's what you got to do sometimes.
So
we can make it's towards the end of the year. We can make we can start. It's once again we can sub things out, and I'm quite happy to play the sub game. I'd rather put Shamu 3 in than have something that comes out in Shamu 3, rather than have something and then have something that comes out in January or February that we're not happy with. So and Hall's got plenty of those. So.
Oh, well... Hall, I'm assuming Shenmue wasn't near your list again.
No, of course it wasn't.
What, due to you don't think it's going to come out, or you just think, like me, it will just suffer?
I think it will probably come out, because it'll either get pushed to like... I mean, I was confident last year it wasn't going to come out this year.
Yeah.
When you had it in your picks for last year, I was laughing. So, I'm not worried. Like, if anything's going to let you down, I think it'll be that. Out of all your list, that is your weak one so far. That and The Last of Us.
There you go. That's the analysis from Hall there. Hall, you've got a chance to secure your 10th and final pick. What is it going to be? How are you going to close out the team?
It's really tough now.
Have you got like a list of games that are not ordered correctly, or are you just sort of second guessing yourself at this stage?
I've got, I have absolutely got a list of games that aren't ordered correctly, but... it's just a question of which one I want to go with, really. Because there's a lot of... to be honest, I've got a lot on here that I thought would have been gone by now.
Right, yeah. So it's made it more difficult than it usually is.
Yeah, normally I've only got like, you have loads written out, but realistically you only have a few to worry about. And now, this time, I've got shitloads to think about. It's a question of how risky I go as well.
Risk it for a biscuit, as Piper says.
Yeah, it's tough though, man.
I think generally, like, this year is really difficult anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
the
not
last
loads.
2 years, there's been a Zelda, a 3D Mario, a Red Dead Redemption, a Spider-Man, a God of War. You know, there's been like lots of high-ranking games, like big staple tentpole games. Whereas this year, it felt like it was a little bit of a, I don't know what, unless like The Last of Us 2 comes out of the blue, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a very tough year this year.
I think I'm going to go for Trials Rising.
Trials Rising, a personal favourite of mine, the Trials franchise. Got to say, I'm looking forward to the new one. Only if it's just to watch Pee-wee play it, because he's a fucking god at that game. He can't play nothing else. But you give him a Trials game and he's ridiculous.
He can't do Trials.
Yeah, it's a fucking joke. He's platinum some of those extreme level. It's ridiculous skill, but that's coming out early, February 26, 2019.
Yeah.
It's been a while since the last trial, so yeah, I've got no problem with that. Paper, was that on your list anywhere?
No, I wasn't convinced. There's been so many of them now. It's how much can you do with bikes? And so I was just a bit like, I wasn't.
They have all scored 80 plus.
Yeah, but how much can you do with bikes? That's my question.
How much can you do with football? That's out every year.
There's COD hasn't gone for it.
If it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, or maybe they should just release DLC. I don't know.
Maybe, but it's been a long time. So you've got one pick left, Paper. Are you in a difficult situation like Hall was in terms of what it is?
Yeah, I've got lots of sort of what I call not meh games, but games that might drop as well, that are potentially right at the end of the year, that could do really well, and a couple of games that are a bit like, you know, it's taking a bit of a punt. Because I'm the last go. Do you want me to go through what I've got?
Is that type to you? Yeah, I mean, at the end we usually go through what was not got
all
on the list.
All right. Let me go for what I want to go then. So,
in experience,
yeah. So I'm going to take a little bit of a risk, and I don't think it's because it won't score well. I think the risk is it might not drop. But I'm going to go for the Outer Worlds.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, I had that. That was one of the ones I was toying with now.
Again, yeah, that's a Game Awards reveal and whatnot, and yeah, I like that's another game that I'd actually probably enjoy personally. Obsidian Entertainment developing it. That's sort of their last game before they go full Microsoft exclusive, so it'll be available on all platforms. They said it's due to come out in 2019. No concrete date as far as I know, but yeah, I think I like the look of that game. That looks really good.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's developed by the core Fallout team, and the Fallout team that were fantastic at the original Fallout games. So, as I said, they've said end of 2019, which always worries me when they say that anyway about release dates and then push back. But it's one of those ones. It'll either we'll know by E3 if it's going to come out. It will score well. If it doesn't, it's a sub.
Okay, so there's a backup plan there for that. So let's just read off the final lists, and then we'll go through what perhaps was missed, or or whatever. Paper said it's you, Adkins, Sir Dave, Logan. You've got Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last of Us Part 2, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, Metro Exodus, The Division 2, Yakuza 4, the new Pokemon game for Switch, Fire Emblem: Three Houses, Shenmue 3, The Outer Worlds. And then Hall, you've got Adcock, Chappers and Biff. You've got Anthem, Resident Evil 2, Days Gone, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe U, or whatever it's called, Bayonetta 3, Skull and Bones, Ace Combat 7, Mortal Kombat 11, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Trials Rising. So I'll come to you first, Hall. What else is on your list that hasn't made the cut? Because you've said that there's quite a lot that you weren't expecting to appear.
Yeah, there's quite a few. So Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey.
Yeah.
For 3DS. Scored 90% when it first came out. It's
on lists. It's just low down. It's on a couple of lists, but no higher than 9. So never going to get to it.
No. Tropico 6.
Yeah, that was one of Chappers from last year. And appears low down on the list, but is there this year.
Overkill's Walking Dead.
Yeah. That's already out, isn't it?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Did it come out end of last year?
Yeah, it's Chapper, isn't it? It was a bit of a stinker in the end. But
Yeah.
they kind of confused it a little bit because they started releasing episodes and bits of it. So
Maybe that's what I've
yeah,
put on then.
dodged a
Crackdown.
bullet there.
Yeah, Crackdown 3.
Yeah, absent.
Yeah.
No one trusts in that game. They won't touch it with a barge pole, will
Yeah,
they?
that's the reason that I've avoided it. I wasn't banking on it. Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah.
Far Cry New Dawn.
Yeah, surprised that's not appeared, in all honesty.
It's a banker, that one, of like a mid-70s at least.
Another one I couldn't trust. Toe Jam and Earl, Back in the Groove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bit of nostalgia.
Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, I'm shocked that's not on this draft somewhere.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought,
mine.
I thought someone would take a gamble on that.
Rage
It's
2.
on the list, but just Rage 2, yeah, again, not that present, not much of an impact on some of these lists.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I can understand that one because that feels like a bit of a gamble since
Yeah.
we only have them sitting down at E3 saying, yeah, it exists and it's coming next year. No gameplay or anything, but
Yeah.
still.
Dirt Rally 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Judgment.
Judgment. I've not heard of that, I must say, but
That I looked up. That's one that just appeared last thing and looked good.
yeah.
Judgment without an E.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm looking at.
No.
Can't remember where I saw that. Somewhere.
Pornhub.
Yeah. No doubt about that. Paper, what has not made the cut from your list?
Like Hall, I've got 3 of the same as Hall. So I had Rage 2, I had Tropico 6, and Crackdown 3 on my list. Some other ones I had, which I had The Last Campfire. It was just Sean Murray again, so I couldn't trust it. It was just, it looks like a nice little indie game that could score really well, but we've been burnt that before, so. I'm surprised. Well, maybe that it's on their other list, but I didn't want to take the risk on it. It's Cyberpunk. It says 2019 at the release at the moment, but it could easily get pushed back.
That feels like it's closer to coming out in 2077.
They've done a lot of live demos of gameplay and stuff like that. I've seen on Twitch. I've seen like an hour gameplay demo, so it doesn't feel too far away. So yeah, I'm surprised no one's taking a gamble on that.
No.
Super Meat Boy Forever. That was on someone's list last year. It didn't come out, is my understanding, so it was here there. Psychonauts 2, the new Total War Three Kingdoms game,
Yeah.
and the trusty old Civ 6 Gathering Storm expansion pack. They seem to score mid-70s. That was, one that was just if I needed it, we knew it'd hit. Plus 70.
Last year you made your name off getting expansion packs and DLC in. No, none such here. These are all proper games.
Well, yeah, I told you tactics change this year. Tactics change.
Interesting. Looking at the two teams then, Paper, do you feel like you've got a stronger team, or is it about even at this stage?
I'm going to put my neck out there and say I've got the best picks at the moment. If I look at my list, and it's going to be different for Halls because I've heard what he said, but my top first 8 games, I've got 7 of them. The only one I didn't get, which I'm slightly frustrated at, was Mortal Kombat 11 because I think that scored well. So, if someone had told me I'd got 7 of those top 8, I would on my list, I would have happily walked away. Really happy with that. So yeah, there's a couple of games in there that's risking it, but as long as we prod them around E3, the ones that are not going to drop can easily get swapped out, and we can score high 70s, low 80s on those with the 5-point deduction in mind. So yeah, it's however, I'm glad someone else picked Pokemon for my team because I wanted to pick it, but I wouldn't have picked it out of the pure fact that it's a risk. But I'm glad someone else took that risk for me.
Interesting. Hall, you said that before the final captain's picks that on paper, perhaps Paper had the better looking roster. Has the captain's pick swung it in your favour, or are you still a little bit concerned about the strength of what Paper has?
Well, I think the Paper's blown it with Shenmue 3. I'm not convinced Fire Emblem Three Houses is going to do very well. I think the Outer Worlds might not come out. I don't think Pokemon's going to appear on the Switch. The Last of Us Part 2, I don't think it's going to come out. Yeah,
Nearly half his
real-
team you've decimated there.
Yeah, but then I look at my list and I think Super Mario Brothers U is going to do shit. I don't think Bayonetta 3 is going to come out. I don't know enough about Skull and Bones, and Ace Combat's a bag of cunt. So, I mean, it could be a real battle of the shitters, to be honest.
It's what I do. That's the tactics. Drag it down.
Yeah, I'm still. There's still just a lot of other ones that I thought people would put in that I didn't necessarily want, but I thought might appear on people's lists. They want to take like a big punt. So, I mean, I'm sure there will be some of them on people's individual lists, but yeah, I'm shocked. To be honest with you, like when I look down, not so much James's team because I think a lot of them are probably quite high up, but other than Pokemon Switch, I'm surprised at the games that my team have picked. To be honest, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have had many of them in the top lists. I'm surprised.
Well, on my list, Hall, for you, I've had to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games that I didn't have on mine.
Yeah, I don't know how many I've got written down. I wrote down shitloads, as I always do. But...
Though, yeah, my worry for Hall's team, and we joke and we laugh about it and stuff like that, but it could go either way. If Biff's come out and they score well, he's got off to a flyer because they're both early releases. If they come out and score poor, it puts him right on the back foot early on. So within Q1, we're going to know sort of how close this is going to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean Ace Combat's a bit of that's the wild card. If that performed as badly as what Agni did last year, it could be all overhaul. We saw last year that it was just impossible for Adcock to rally his team and recover with a 40 dropping in the team, and then Paper well and truly finished it off with Fallout and 55. It's not what you want, is it, early on?
I'm still confident. We'll be fine.
Well, they're the teams themselves. Now it's the all-important task of naming your teams. Hall, as champion, you get to decide what the name of your team is. Last year, I believe you were Team Speedrun. Will you be retaining that name, or have you got a new one in store?
No, I guess we'll go for a new name.
Yeah,
I always do. I can't remember what we were Team Achievement the year before.
Yeah,
because I was proper into my achievements, and then we were Team Speedrun because I was really into watching speedruns and I wanted to do one myself. Which, by the way, I definitely didn't. So. Yeah, I think this. Well, I was going to go for something that was derogatory about Biff, but no. I think instead, I'll tell you what. We'll go for what I've recently become obsessed with, not recently, but we'll go Team Amiibo.
Team Amiibo. It had to be, didn't it?
Yeah. People on my team that will.
That's so obvious that was going to be the name, thinking about it now. How many Amiibos do you have now in collection?
About 140 odd.
Oh, how much money is that spent on?
A lot.
A lot. I thought you shoplifted half of them.
I wish I had, mate.
Pay Parky to do it. He'll do it if you give him KFC.
Send him off to Dagenham to steal. Job done.
The Team Amiibo is Hall and his merry men. Paper, you asked whether he had to come up with a name, and to be honest, I forgot to give that instruction, so lucky you did. But in the hour or so you had to prepare for that, what is your team name going to be?
So I've gone for Paper's Lemmings. Because this could go either way. I could lead them to success, or I could lead them off the edge of a cliff. So it's quite topical. I think
that is shocking.
That logic.
It's going to go one way or the other. We're either going to fall off a cliff, or we're going to win. So Paper's Lemmings.
Paper's Lemmings. Okay, that is. I wasn't expecting that, but pretty good overall. Well. That's it from you, gentlemen. I've got to go away and work out what the individual lineup's going to be. I'll need some quiet time to do that. Those of you listening, you won't even notice unless I just said it, which I have. So there'll be a cut at some point whilst I go away and work out and read out what the individual league looks like. But you boys, thanks for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure to do this as well. We'll catch up during the week. During the year. Sorry. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
Right, we're back soon with the individual standings and draw. And we're back here with the individual Fantasy Gaming League draft results. Obviously not going to sit here and draft everything individually for you guys and let you listen to that. I've gone away, carried out the process, and we now have 6 rosters and the teams are set. And as mentioned, there's chances for people to transfer out games that haven't been released, so there are 3 opportunities to do that this year. But this is the starting roster for each of the competitors, and the draft order itself is in the order they were selected for their teams. So the order itself was: Adkins was number 1, Adcock was number 2, Sir Dave was number 3, Chappers was number 4, Logan was number 5, and Biff warms up that 6th spot once again. So that was the order. Obviously an advantage for those at the top of the grid, but doesn't mean that you necessarily are out the game, because we've seen people from the mid-range get wins. Like Piper last year, I think it was 3 or 4, and he managed to win the thing in the individual. So it's, there's chances here for all of them. But let's go through the teams themselves. First of all, we've got Adkins. So he was first draft. So his very first game he got was The Last of Us 2. He's also got Anthem, Dreams, which you'll remember was the game that cost him last year. Gears 5, Jump Force, Forza 8, Rage 2, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Doom Eternal, and Dying Light 2. So that's Adkins' 10-game roster that he's got. Adcock was second, and he ended up with Resident Evil 2, Bayonetta 3, Far Cry New Dawn, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Babylon's Fall, Metroid 4, No More Heroes, Super Meat Boy Forever. He stuck with that despite it costing him as a captain last year. Psychonauts 2 and Man of Medan. So that's the 10-game roster for Adcock. So Dave in at number 3, he gets Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Yakuza 4, Devil May Cry 5, Steins Gate Elite, Steins Gate Linear Bounded Phenogram, never heard of it before, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, Left Alive, Life is Strange 2 Episode 2 Rules, Code Vein, another game that he had last year, and then Sharon no Kuni, The Girl Among the Sunflowers. Chappers, he's next on the list. He's got Days Gone, Skull and Bones, Yoshi Crafted World, NBA 2K20, which we're assuming that's what it's going to be called, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Junior Journey, Dangerous Driving, Observation, After Party, MechWarrior 5, and then a blank. He did not have enough games on his list to get the full 10, so he's only got 9 out of 10, meaning he's going to be forced to take a transfer at some point to get the full 10-game roster. He might not, but if anyone else has 10 games, he definitely won't beat them. So he's going to have to, at some point during the windows, decide that and put that in. We've then got Logan, who was 5th pick. He's got Metro Exodus, The Division 2, the new Pokemon on Switch, Mortal Kombat 11, Cyberpunk 2077, Jedi Fallen Order, Trials Rising, Crackdown 3, Fire Emblem, Three Houses, and In the Valley of the Gods. And finally we've got Biff in at number 6, Kingdom Hearts 3, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Ace Combat 7, Shenmue 3, Onimusha Warlords Remastered, FIFA 20, Wolfenstein Youngblood, DreamWorks Dragon Dawn of the New Riders, Luigi's Mansion 3, and a blank. He was another one who was unfortunately did not give enough games over and will now be forced to take a substitution later on. So that's the 6 teams. This is completely separate to the team order. So we've gone through the draft of the team, so that's why you'll see games that are appearing on both as a separate competition. And obviously the winner of this year's individual will be promoted in to be captain, and the losing captain will drop down. But that's the story for this year in 2019. Fantasy Gaming League is underway. Maybe we'll check in at some point during the year, but nothing more for us to say here though, apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.